Hello guys, this is Simon from writtenlegalenglish.com and welcome to this video where I'm going to break down the text that I asked you to have a look at on Tuesday about permission to be outdoors during the time of curfew in France because of Covid-19. So let's get started. So I asked you guys to think about the main messages, and to get to the main messages, sometimes you've got to ask yourself a different question. And here you've got to understand the background of the document. So the document is being written to get the general public to react in a certain way between curfew hours. So a valid question might be, what am I trying to achieve? And I say here from a common sense point of view because you're talking to normal people, to lay people. Yes, a legal advisor or a legal expert or a political advisor might have written this document, but when they were writing, were they asking themselves the question, what am I trying to communicate? Or were they asking themselves the question, what am I trying to achieve? And those are two different questions. This text answers the first, which is, what am I trying to communicate? Well, that's just this. The second question means that you've got to think about what you're communicating in a slightly different way. And I think you should ask yourself three things. Or rather, I think this document is trying to achieve three things. First of all, to make sure that someone is outside for a permitted reason. Secondly, that you can prove that you're out for that reason. And then thirdly, perhaps, maybe prove you are who you say you are. So it's not just much sense having a document which says I'm out for this reason, but I'm out for this reason, and because you signed the document as well, then you've got to show some form of ID. So I think this writing is trying to achieve those three aims. And if this writing is going to achieve those three aims, then it should be written, I think, in a slightly different way. I think it should be written as simply as this. I confirm that I am carrying ID, I meet one of the criteria below, and I have checked the box for that criteria, and I have the necessary proof to support that criteria. Therefore, I am permitted by official measures to be outdoors. Something along those lines. Certainly you can see that that is a lot easier to read than the original. For a start, it's a lot shorter. Secondly, it's divided up in a much simpler way. All of the information is together. You can see here that I've put the list of criteria underneath this text, and I haven't split this text up, and I haven't used asterisks or anything like that. I've thought about the design of the writing and decided much easier to understand. Yes, I've left a lot of information out, and I want to come to that now. Let me click back on the screen. There is other information I have not included. For example, there was that sentence, authorised by the official measures to tackle the spread of Covid-19 as part of the state of health emergency. And the reason why I left that out is because I think that information should be in the title or in the introduction to the document. So there has to be a brief introduction. What is this document for? So people understand what this paper is for, which might help them to remember to actually fill it out or to take it with them. And if you have that information in the introduction, then you don't need to repeat it here. If it's written in a plain, straightforward way, people will know what they have to do. And that's why I would design this whole document in a different way. But particularly the text I asked you to have a look at, I think it should be, or I would argue, that this is a lot easier to understand. Okay guys, I'd love to hear your comments. Let me know what you think. Leave them below the video. If you agree with me, disagree with me, if you have your own versions, put them in the comments section below and I will get back to you. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, of course, subscribe. And you'll want to subscribe to see all of my other content. The videos that I put out on Tuesday, Wednesday, and of course, this video that I put out every single Friday. Okay guys, have a fantastic weekend and I'll see you again next Tuesday.